like this book that came out a couple of years ago called Rules for a Night. It's 21 rules and little stories about how to be good, how to be a good knight, how to be a good friend, how to be a good citizen. One of the rules is humility. It says, never announce you are a knight, simply behave as one. And when I joined Oracle several years ago to start the Oracle Education Foundation, this was pretty much our MO with respect to philanthropy and corporate social responsibility. Do the right thing, don't toot your horn. Humility is a virtue, that's true. The companion truth is that there is a time and a reason to make your case. Now is that time for companies like ours. And the reason is that good corporate citizenship matters, and people want to hear about it, now more than ever. So in recent years, Oracle's MO has changed, and we've begun actively telling the story of our sincere and effective philanthropy, of our commitment to sustainability, and of our passion for education, which has been the beating heart of Oracle corporate citizenship for more than 2 decades. So I'd like to share a little bit of that story with you today, starting with our 3 focus areas, which are advancing education, protecting the environment, and strengthening communities. And dividing things up this way is a useful storytelling device, right? It makes sense, and it's a good way to organize work. But to imagine that all of these aren't interconnected, it just wouldn't be true. Education happens in the context of a community, and every community on this planet exists within the natural world. Every single one of these things is connected. Let's talk a little bit about Oracle volunteering. Oracle volunteers support nonprofit and non-governmental organizations around the world to advance education, protect the environment, strengthen communities, and they've been doing that for 25 years. Oracle employees are encouraged to volunteer up to 40 hours a year during the workday with their manager's permission, and beyond work, they can go crazy, and we hope that they do. Our FY19 results are still rolling in, but looking at FY18, you can see that Oracle volunteers donated nearly 97,000 hours of their time and skills to organizations around the world. Oracle Giving supports nonprofit organizations with cash, sponsorships, and a company match to employees' donations to their favorite causes. Last year, we gave $20 million in cash. We matched $2.5 million worth of employee gifts to disaster relief campaigns and their favorite nonprofit organizations, supporting 4,600 organizations around the world total. I think one way to understand this is to look at a few themes, and I had many, many more of them for you, but I asked Roseanne how much time I had, and she said 10 minutes, so I'm speeding through, picking just a few. So one of them is addressing the gender gap in technology. Not surprisingly, Oracle supports organizations that ignite and stoke students' interest in computer science and the incredibly fruitful and generative intersection of STEAM disciplines: science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Why are we a fan of STEAM rather than STEM? Because it's more. It has the arts, and the arts are an especially effective way to engage girls. If we want to increase diversity and opportunity for women in technology, we need to start by investing in computer science and STEAM education for young women and girls. We also support a number of organizations that advance the practice of design thinking, which is a human-centered approach to problem solving that emphasizes empathy, creativity, prototyping, and iteration. We're practitioners, and we put our money where our mouth is in terms of supporting organizations that teach this method. A healthy ocean is absolutely essential to life on this planet. More than half of the oxygen that we breathe is produced by phytoplankton, which is why Oracle is a long-term supporter of a National Geographic mission program called Pristine Seas, which is identifying, surveying, restoring, and protecting the last wild places in the ocean and in the future on land as well. Pristine Seas has done 26 expeditions. 19 of those areas are now marine protected areas, parks in the sea. They represent, I know, yeah, that's worth, yeah. 5 million kilometers of protected area, of new protected area. Closer to home, we fund the wonderful Marine Science Institute here in Redwood City, the Marine Mammal Center out in Sausalito, and many others. We also support organizations that are developing the next generation of environmental stewards and citizen scientists that provide children and young people with environmental field science education and immersive outdoor experiences so that they will understand, care about, and protect the natural world and wildlife. Since 1990, Oracle has been a major supporter of the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund. And in 2014, we entered into a cloud partnership with them so that today we host for free their 50 years worth of data, which they collect 365 days of the year, on the mountain gorillas of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, who share 96% or more of their DNA with us. And we host this data for them with a grant that is renewable pretty much in perpetuity. And they make this data available to scientists for free to advance their studies. We're very proud of this partnership. Oracle is also a member of the Stanford Medicine Corporate Partners Program. This is a long-term partnership between Stanford Medicine and some of the world's leading companies looking at transformative research and ways to provide better healthcare delivery. Oracle's grant of $25 million over the last 10 years has helped to build the new Stanford Hospital, and we can't wait to see it come online. We also support organizations that help individuals, families, and children experiencing homelessness and generally in need with supportive housing, transitional housing, services, and affordable housing that helps them get back on their feet and return to self-sufficiency. Around the world, Oracle supports food banks, donating more than $200,000 a year and countless Oracle volunteer hours. Sustainability is inherent in the way that we think about and approach just about every dimension of our business, from operational efficiency to product development to employee engagement. We have some wonderful people right here at this table in front of me who are responsible for doing that. With more than 25 million square feet of real estate in our portfolio, we know that the way that we manage our use of resources can have a huge impact. So Oracle is deeply committed and has aggressive goals set that it regularly meets and exceeds to minimize our greenhouse gas emissions, maximize our energy efficiency, reduce the amount of water we consume and waste we generate. Now to education, the heart of Oracle corporate citizenship, and admittedly, the first among equals in our trifecta of education, environment, and community. The Oracle Academy is a program that donates curricula, cloud services, cloud services, and training and resources to educational institutions around the world for teaching use, more than 15,000 of them, touching millions of students every year. The Oracle Education Foundation is a nonprofit organization that is funded by Oracle and staffed by Oracle employees. It is reinventing education by helping young people develop the technical acumen, creative confidence, empathy, and grit to be outstanding designers of solutions to people's needs and the world's problems. Oracle volunteers not only can, but are encouraged by our CEOs to volunteer up to 100 hours a year with the Oracle Education Foundation. In the foundation's program, Oracle volunteers coach students through classes at the intersection of design thinking and STEAM disciplines. Students learn coding, electrical engineering, and human-centered design from real practitioners, and then they apply those learnings and knowledge to design challenges in a wide variety of domains, everything from 3D printing and design to IoT, AI, wearable technology. And who are the students in that program? To date, they are the students of Design Tech High School, also known as the D-Tech Dragons. And we met the founders of Design Tech High School back in 2014 when we were in the process of designing the Foundation's new program, the one that I just described to you. D-Tech had not opened its doors at that time, but when we heard about this school's model and the fact that it invited the community into students' educational experience for 2 weeks at a time, 4 times a year, focused on extreme personalization, teaching their students to put knowledge into action, and taught design thinking as the default problem-solving approach, a value that we share, we were blown away. And we knew that they had huge potential. What they didn't have was a home. We had the land, the wherewithal, and the will to provide them with that home, and so we did. Yeah. Here's what it looks like when that all comes together.
I go to spots where you're not going to be in contact with another person for hours at a time. You're way out in the wilderness most of the time, 20, 30 miles from any place. I'm 79 years old and I can ride a motorcycle, no problems whatsoever, so I keep doing it. If you have a flat or you have wire wrapped around your sprocket, I've been in situations like that where I didn't have the proper tools and you just feel a panic because you know I'm going to be here for a good while until I can figure out how to take care of this situation. And the trail lift is one of those tools that makes us much more complete in being able to say, let's go riding.
Students need a way to prepare to be successful in a changing world, and one of the best ways that they can do that is to learn design thinking. It starts with empathy. You've got to understand the pain points of the person you're designing a solution for before you can really come up with something effective. What brought these students together with Ralph was the Oracle Education Foundation's 3D design and production class. The Foundation's classes teach design thinking and technology. And in this particular class, the users for whom students were designing solutions were members of the community aged 70 or older.
And the subject came up of what was one of your needs or what was the things you wanted to talk about. When I first thought about it and I went on the internet, I couldn't find anything. And I thought of telling the 4 students, all you need is a way to lift the bike up easily with a lightweight tubular effect.
I mean, it looks perfect. Like it looks almost too good to be true. Yeah.
If it works, it would be perfect.
Yeah.
I was just totally impressed in their maturity and their personalities.
If we can iterate off this prototype and design a more complete prototype of it, we can take it to be machined.
And then we went over to Weber Fabrication. Pete Weber gave them an excellent tutorial of what it takes to do that kind of work.
It's been great seeing what it's like in here and how much work goes into making these things.
What was nice, I thought, was that they rendered it in an isometric view so the person who had never seen it before could quite quickly see what was happening.
For such a simple item, it had to be lightweight, packable. It had a number of little parameters that just made it work or not work.
The thing that was made today will be and should be tested. I think it's going to be a success.
By having this neat little tool, I'm prepared a whole lot more, even emotionally, I guess, because it's there. And in 2 minutes, I can do the process to get the job done, get me back riding again.
I just love that story. Yeah, it's a good one. Thank you. To conclude, for Oracle, good corporate citizenship means applying the same level of sincerity and commitment and rigor to changing lives and protecting the natural world as it does to building cutting-edge technologies for our customers. It means being intentional and thoughtful about the value that we create as a company for our people, our planet, and future generations. Thank you.